Welcome to the 5 for 2 podcast with me, your host Adele, where we say no to careers where you're trading 5 days of misery for 2 days of fun. A place we discuss all things career, confidence, and money moves. I want to motivate, teach, and empower ambitious women to achieve more, earn more, feel more confident, and enjoy the work they do. It's all about believing you can have everything you want in your career and then going and getting it. So if you're ready, let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome to another episode. I am super excited for this one because I have the amazing Aqura Nicholson, money coach, all the way from America, so all the way from across the pond. We have met in person, we have done a workshop together. The power of social media is real because she is so cool. I feel like she has some of the best concepts and different concepts to the everyday money coach. And today we are going to be talking about her concept, $5 decisions versus $5,000 decisions, and how you can start to make $5,000 decisions. And that we're not talking money. We're talking about your mindset and your approach to money. We're talking about it in your career. We're talking about it in your business. This episode is going to be so good. So I'm going to let Aqura give you a little rundown of who she is and who she works with. So Aqura, welcome.
Hello. Thank you so much for inviting me to your podcast, Adele. Just to give your listeners a little bit of insider info, we met in London. I am from the US. I live in Virginia, and I was in London for my birthday this year. And Adele and I are in a group program together. And I just reached out and asked, who else in London? I'm going to be in London for the first time. And Adele reached out and we literally met up and we talked for hours. So y'all are going to be in for a treat because when we go in, we go in. So that's just a little bit of my love for Adele and a little bit of background on how we met. So like Adele said, my name is Aqura Nicholson. I am a money coach and I help women earn more money, manage it with confidence, and spend it without guilt. That's what I'm all about. I help women prioritize earning before cutting expenses so they can really embody an abundance money mindset and realize that the things that they want in their lives, like vacations, the girls' trips, the spa days, those are all possible. And you don't have to necessarily cut them back in your life. You can make them happen without disrupting your savings or your debt payoff and everything like that.
Oh, you already know that Akira's talking my language, guys. Anytime we do not have to cut back. You know, I don't like the scarcity. I like nice stuff, guys. So, we don't like to cut around here. So you already know why she's here on the podcast, because I'm always trying to help you guys earn more. So you have more freedom, more options, just more money to do what you want with it. Again, we don't believe in having to be on strict, tight budgets. There are other ways to grow your wealth. There are other ways to get more money in your pockets. And yeah, me and Akira are going to talk about it for the next 20, 30 minutes. Who knows with us? But we're going to jump right into it. First question I'm going to ask Akira is, how did you even come up with this concept? Because I want my listeners to understand that after meeting Akira, like she said, we spoke for hours. She's amazing. We didn't speak about any of this sort of stuff specifically, but I follow Akira on Instagram. You should too. She follows me. We talk all the time. We exchange conversations, but she always has different ideas that tend to trigger me, but trigger me in a really positive way. They trigger me. She triggered a whole podcast episode. Guys, you know which one I'm talking about. Any of my loyal listeners, if you go back, you know the episode, You Are Not on Sale. I say her name in that episode, so it's only right that she is here now. But her concepts are so interesting to me. So I want her to share with you guys how she even came up with this concept, because I don't hear anyone else talking about it. I've never heard it said this way before. Yeah, and I just want Akira to share that with you. So Akira, let us know, $5 decisions versus $5,000 decisions. How did you come up with this concept?
Yes. So I was genuinely just thinking about why women don't believe they're capable of earning more money. And when I started thinking about it, I started thinking about what women do with their money on a day-to-day basis, or what women are taught to do with their money on a day-to-day basis, or what we see women in the media doing with their money on a day-to-day basis. And it all made sense. I was like, oh, we're always being told we shop too much. We're always being told we're not good savers. We're always being told we need to cut back on the Amazon packages. We need to cut back on spending, or we need to create a more strict budget. And I'm like, well, of course it makes sense that we're not focusing on earning more, because how are we going to do that when we're being told all we need to do is cut? So then the light bulb went off. I'm like, you know what? We need to prioritize earning more before we resort to cutting back everything, creating a more strict budget. Because when we do that, and once you train your mindset to think about how you can grow in abundance before cutting, you grow in so many areas of your life, not just money, your career, your spiritual, everything. Like, we can think bigger about it. We can think more abundantly about it. And it doesn't always have to mean that women have to keep shrinking ourselves in order to fit this narrative that society wants us to be. We can be talking about the stock market with men. We can talk about maxing out our retirement accounts. We can talk about how we're going to negotiate for the next salary before we even start talking about what our expenses are, because we're just as capable as anyone else to grow our wealth, to grow our salaries, to grow everything about our finances before we start talking about how we can cut everything. So that's kind of how it all came about. And once that clicked for me, I was like, oh, this is it. This is my thing. This lights me up. Women need to be earning more money, period.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Guys, do you see why I love Akira? Do you see? Like, just in those first couple of minutes of you speaking, I know the audience understands. I love that you said we don't have to shrink ourselves. And it's just that thought that you said, it just made me think, when I don't have the money for something I want, instead of thinking about, oh, I don't have it, how can I get it? And that's basically what you're telling us. It's not about,
Exactly.
oh, how can I cut back? It's about, no, how can I get it? How can I go and get more money? Not how can I reduce what I'm spending so that I can spend on something else? Because realistically, that's just moving money around. It's not
It is.
actually having more, is it? It's not
Exactly.
abundance.
Exactly. And it's like everything doesn't have to be a trade off. What if we can do both? And to be clear, it's not saying that more money will always solve all of your problems. Of course, we're going to manage our money responsibly. We're going to manage what we have now, and that's going to help us manage our money well at the next level. But it's the act and the exercise of not resorting to saying no to something before you even give it a chance, to even see if you can make it happen, to even see what it will look like, what it would take to make it happen. That's the $5,000 decision, seeing what those steps are. So you can say with an objective point of view, oh, I can do that, instead of just automatically training yourself to say no to things when you can make it happen. And if it's just earning more money that's getting in the way, oh, we can clean that up too.
I love that. Why have we got to choose? That's so important, ladies. Why do we have to trade? Why do we have to choose? Why can't we have both? Bodak Yellow popped into my head immediately. Cardi B. I want them both. Simple as that, guys. Why have we got to always choose? Why have we as women always got to sacrifice rather than think of ways where I want two things? Why can't I have them both? And I feel like that's where this podcast is going to go. This episode is going to go. We're going to talk about that. Curious, I'm going to ask you, because this is your concept, when did you first ever make a $5,000 decision over $5 decision?
So when I made this decision at the time, I didn't have this language to talk about it, right? But I was noticing that I was taking a different approach than I saw the people around me. So this is when I really remember like going in on this concept. I was at my first job, and this is right out of my university. So I was in a very toxic workplace. I was working as an engineer, and we were getting paid really well. Well, we were also in this like really interesting caveat sort of role where we got paid overtime, where a lot of other engineers weren't getting paid overtime. So on top of our salaries, we were also getting paid overtime for all the work that we were doing, because we were working like 12-hour shifts. It was so much work. It was so toxic. And all the engineers around me, they were accepting the fact that this was the best place to work for them because it was the most money that they could make, because we were getting paid overtime. And I'm like, something just don't sound right about that. Like, is this really it? Like, y'all accepting all this, the toxicity, the 12-hour shifts, the nonstop. I mean, we were in there day in and day out. I'm like, I don't have to do this, and I don't have to accept that I'm going to earn myself out of being able to move to another company just because I'm making overtime. So I was like, you know what? I'm getting the hell up out of here. I'm going to find somewhere and I'm going to make just as much money as I do right now with this overtime. And y'all can stay here if y'all want, but I'm out. So that was the first time, like, I really started thinking about, I don't have to accept this and I can make just as much money somewhere else, even if y'all don't think that it's possible. But I know in my mind that this can't be it. Like, this cannot be it. So that's the first time I really remember, like, diving into making a $5,000 decision that I knew was going to serve me in the way I wanted to kind of project my career to be without sacrificing earning more money. And the $5,000 decision was, I can go somewhere else and make this kind of money. Even though I didn't see anyone else around me doing it, I'm like the only engineer in my family. I really didn't know what was out there. I just know engineers are supposed to make money, right? Or I could have just stayed there, accepted the overtime, kept working 12-hour shifts, 5 days a week. I mean, it was just ridiculous. So that's when I really remember kind of diving into this. And of course, I didn't have that language at the time, but I was still making those decisions.
I love that. You definitely made a $5,000 decision. And I think that's really important for the audience, my audience listening, to just hear and understand that the $5,000 decision was leaving the toxic workplace, deciding I can make the same money, if not more, in a better environment with better hours. And I don't have to sacrifice my health, my mental state, anything. I don't have to sacrifice anything. And I love that idea. And it reminds me of the time, like, I've made a lot of $5 decisions, guys. Like, for my UK people, that's £5 versus £5,000. Just for my UK girlies, my $5 or £5 decisions have been when I stayed at a job for the same reasons you left your job. I stayed at the job because it was making me so much money. I'd never seen that type of money before. I was in my 20s. I'd never made that much money. It was one of the most toxic jobs I've been in, but I stayed every month because every time I got paid, I said, "Ah, it's worth it for the money. It's worth it for the money." And that was me telling myself that I couldn't find better and get that same money. It was me saying to myself, I had to stay. I had a boss who used to talk to everyone around me crazy. He used to scream at people. And I just used to tell myself, well, he hasn't screamed at me yet, knowing that it would come. I'd be like, so it's fine. Oh, he pays me really, really well. Oh, it helped me buy my new car. It helped me take my daughter on holiday. Like, there was always a justification. But guys, I want you to understand that that is the $5 mentality. That right there, me staying, because I want people listening to understand that just because we're talking about this concept doesn't mean we've never made $5 decisions. We're just talking to you guys so you know that there are way better decisions out there. And you just saying that you had you just had the courage to get up and leave and say, I've never seen anyone else do it before. I know nothing about this. No one in my family does what I do, so I can't really go to them. I know there's got to be better out there. That's stepping out on faith. And that's so important when you're making these decisions. Because sometimes if we make decisions based on everything we see in front of us, we will continue to make the $5 decisions. And yeah, that just really resonated with me. I feel like that just really resonated with me because there was a point in my life where I repeatedly made the $5 decisions. And the
Yeah.
minute I made the $5,000 decisions, my whole life changed.
Yeah.
And it's hard. And I want you to let people know, was it easy when you made your first five, even if when you didn't have the language, you didn't know that's what you were doing, was it easy?
No. And a part of it was because everyone around me was like, this is it. Like, this is the dream. Like, this is what our career is. They were so embedded in it. And sometimes you will be the only one fighting for your $5,000 decision. And a part of that is just protecting the fact that you know that there's more, which means that sometimes you can't tell your coworkers. Sometimes you can't tell that family member that's just going to bring you back to that $5 decision. But you know that there's more. And like, that's the hardest part, is because sometimes the people around you will make you think that you're crazy. And it's like, no, I know I'm not making this up. I know that there's more. And I just have to protect what my goal is, what my idea is, whatever it is that I'm trying to get to. separating myself from those $5 decision makers so that I can go keep making $5,000 decisions.
Love that. The fact that you said people will make you feel crazy. People will make you feel crazy, guys. Like,
Yes,
for real, even the people that we love because they think they're helping us, when the truth is they've never done it or they don't believe they can do it. So they can't comprehend that anyone else would be able to do it. So be careful of who you tell your dreams to, who you tell your goals to, and who you let influence your decision. Something I posted recently was, if you would not trade lives with them, why are you accepting their advice? If you don't
exactly.
want their life, like, if I don't want your life, even if you've got the most amazing life, if it is not the life that I want, why would I listen to the decisions that you've made or that you would make? Because your decisions got you your life. If I don't want that life, then I'm going to have to choose different decisions. And sometimes that means, like Akira said, doing something that no one else has done before. I think that when you said that people make you crazy, I think that's really important for a lot of people, whether they're in career or business, because a lot of people are going to tell you that these $5,000 decisions are totally the wrong decision. So how can we start noticing what type of decisions we are making, whether we are making $5 decisions or $5,000? Give us some tips on how we can start noticing, how do we start noticing that we're making $5 decision versus a $5,000 decision?
The best thing is just to think about how you feel, even right now as you're listening to
Mm.
this podcast. What is going on in your life right now? How do you feel about it? Do you feel like you should be getting more? Do you feel at ease? Do you feel like you are just settling? Do you feel like you are giving up? Like, how are you feeling right now? That is the biggest. And do you feel like you are in alignment with whatever it is that you feel like your purpose is? Even if you don't know what your purpose is, do you feel like you're moving in alignment with the things that you love, the things that make you happy? If you're constantly trading off the time, the energy, the love, the things with something else that's not allowing you to grow into the woman that you know you want to be or the man that you want to be, something's not lining up. So, like, that's the biggest indicator. And what I was saying about my decision to leave that workplace, it was so toxic. And I'm like, I know I feel toxic, even though everybody around me is like, it's their dream. But I'm like, it's not mine. And that's okay. And I don't feel good here. Like,
Mhm.
and I just had to start listening to that. And I'm like, okay, well, if I don't feel good here, do I have to be here? Okay, well, if I don't have to be here, then what can I do to get out? Okay, well, if I have to get out, then does that mean I have to sacrifice the income? So, like, and then you just start asking questions like, how can I get there? Have I made the decision to get closer to the thing that I want to be? If not, what do I need to do? Just start asking yourself more questions. If you're not getting closer to, say, you're someone that wants to take 4 vacations a year and you know that it can be possible. Have you even started to look at what's out there within your budget? Or are you automatically saying that you can't do it? Even though you know that you should be able to go on a vacation. You know you love to travel. You know you want to go to whatever country it is. If you know all those things, but you're constantly saying, I can't do it. I'm not going to look at anything. Something's not adding up.
How you feel, that is really important. I definitely agree with you. How you feel is so important. And sometimes the $5,000 decision is scary and will make you also feel sick. Because I feel like when I was accepting the really good salary, my trade was I hated everything else. I hated where I was working. I hated my colleagues. I hated my boss. I hated everything. I hated everything else. Actually, no, I had a couple of really nice colleagues. But other than that, I hated everything else about my role. Yeah, I really did. I really hated everything else.
This is so good. Okay. So I told the first story about how I changed roles. So I went to another job where I made the money that I wanted to make. I had leadership that supported the heck out of me. Like, my manager was like, I'm putting you in front of all these people. You're doing great things. The staff was like supporting everything I was doing. But I was like, I'm still like, I'm missing something. Like, this just don't feel like me. I felt like I was
Mm.
putting on a layer that wasn't myself, even though I was making the money. So then I was like, I'm leaving and I'm just going to take my business full time. People are like, what? You're just going to throw away your degree? You're just going to throw away your engineering? And again, these are the people. And it's not to say there's something wrong with them. It's not to say that they are being like this deceitful. It may really just be all that they know, and that's okay. What's more important is that you know better. And for you and your path, you're going to keep going on your path. So again, I knew that something was still missing. I was in a space where I didn't see anyone that looked like me, even though I was making the money. So my next $5,000 decision was okay, I just want to be doing what I do, serving women, helping them earn more money. And I know that I will be able to replace this income. And so, like, that was my next step, but it still took time to get there. And I still had to keep making $5,000 decisions, even in the midst of people surrounding me that were constantly trying to, I don't want to say bring me back to $5 decisions, but I was in an environment where $5 decisions were happening.
And sometimes, do you ever feel like $5 decisions are the norm sometimes in certain
Yes.
circles? And they
Yes.
don't know they're making that decision. So
Yes.
it's not, they're not doing it on purpose. It's the
Mm-hmm.
norm in that environment, making the low vibration decisions, like making the calls that are wrong for you. Because guys, understand that anything that's low vibrational is low vibrational for you. It doesn't mean it's low vibrational for everyone else around you. If everyone's having a $5 conversation, you having a $5,000 conversation will make them annoyed, triggered, or confused. Because Akira said something really important there, and I hope you guys heard it. They said to her, she's throwing away her degree. And I hear this so often, like, oh, you're going to change industry, you're going to change career. Like, I'm only experienced and qualified. Well, not experienced. I'm only qualified to teach children. That is not what I do anymore. That is not what I have done for over 15 years. But people will tell you your qualifications, your degree, you're throwing them all away. How can you do that? Guys, for every point in your life, whatever you have and whatever you're using has been used and it was relevant in that time. Akira can't throw away a degree that she worked years to get. It's her degree.
Exactly.
The experience from engineering will be carried forward. There are things in her engineering. I used to teach kids, guys. Then I went on to teach adults. I've taught first aid. Guess what? I'm a coach now, guys. Teaching is still embedded in me. Helping other people is still embedded in me because whatever your degree is, I promise you parts of it will come with you, even if it's only the experience, the discipline that you had to have to stay in your degree course, to do assignments, that discipline will come with you. So how can you tell yourself that your degree was a waste of time? Your degree is never a waste. That's like being in a toxic relationship and saying, because I've been here 5 years, or being in a marriage that you're no longer happy in and it is not serving you, and saying, oh, because I've been here 5 years, I can't just throw it away. Hell no. There was a point in your life where that served you. You might have been the happiest at some point in that relationship, but once it turns bad, you need to remove yourself. Your degree served you for as long as you needed it for. I was a teacher, and for as long as I needed those qualifications and that experience, it served me. Now we're in a different phase of life and we're just adding. You're never removing things. And I think that's really important. But just like you said, that is a $5 thought. The fact that, oh, I'm throwing away the degree and I'm losing everything that I've ever built to start from scratch. And that's so not true, guys. So I just feel like I really, really resonate with what you're talking about right now.
And the easiest thing for someone to do, if they're like, okay, I'm not sure exactly what a $5,000 decision will be, just remove yourself from the people that you don't feel in alignment with. That's your first step.
Mm.
And I guarantee you, you will start thinking more about what it is that you want because you won't constantly being pulled back to whatever it is that they're
Mm.
valuing that you know that is just not aligned with where you are in this season. That could be your first step.
I like that. You don't have to take that first step is a huge step, but it doesn't feel like a huge step. Because nothing's really changing other than getting yourself around people that aren't trying to hold you back. And also, I always feel like, you know how we have different types of friends? You have your party friends, you have your friends that you go to the spa with. I have my friends that I go to brunch with. I have my mum friends that we hang out and like talk about mum stuff. And why can't that be a part of our lives? You don't necessarily, like if it's a family member that's holding you back, you don't have to get rid of them, but they're not for that part of your life. Like I don't discuss certain parts of my career, my business with like my mum, just because she is an old Caribbean woman who's going to give me old Caribbean advice. And a lot of that is to keep me safe, but it's definitely going to be more on the side of, oh, no, you shouldn't do that. You've done this for a certain amount of years, so keep doing the same thing. She's an old Jamaican woman. That's what she's going to do. So I don't have those conversations with her. It doesn't mean I cut her out of my life. It just means that I know who to have business conversation with. if I'm stuck, I'd rather speak to a cure if it came to money over going to speak to one of my friends who's going to say to me like, oh no, maybe you should tighten your belt or maybe you should stop spending on holidays and trips. And no, because the cure is going to say to me, maybe Adele, you should find a job where you can earn more money. Or what's your business doing right now? Have you got capacity for more clients? She's going to help me
Exactly.
earn more rather than cut back. And I think your point was very much that, how does it feel? Like if I spoke to you, you're gonna make me, yeah, like my ideas feel aligned. I feel lit up. Whereas when I speak to someone else, it's almost that disappointment. So guys, that like gauge your feelings on that. Like even if someone gives you a $5 idea and you think, oh well, maybe they're right, did it make you feel good when you agreed with them? Because I think that's alignment. That's so important. When you listen to that idea that they gave you, were you lit up or were you like, oh, maybe they're right, but it just didn't feel right? And I think that's so, so important. And yeah, removing yourself from people or just not having those conversations with certain people, so important. Like,
Right.
so, so, so important.
And sometimes it really is just about the amount of money you spend. So, for example, if there's something that you really want to do, like your dream thing, and you might not be able to do it right now, but you know something else that you can do right now that's not quite that. And so you decide to do that. And then after you do that, it's like, well, dang, I really wish I would have did that. It's like, no, just let's see how you can do that thing that you really, really want to do. Because if you settle for something that's not that, that may be cheaper, that may be easier to get, you're still going to be wanting that thing.
Oh, I love that you said
So
that.
why don't we just talk about how we can get there
I love that you
first?
said that.
First, at least entertain it. At least entertain it.
The first conversation should never be settling. I
No.
love that you said that. I remember dating a guy and I told him I wanted to travel to a specific place in the world. And he said to me, nah, that's too expensive. Let's just go here instead. And we went, and I'm not going to say all the locations because he'll know that I'm talking about him. So we went there instead. We went to the other place instead. And I enjoyed it, but I was still thinking about the original place that I wanted to go. And guess what happened, guys? I got rid of the man and I got to the place that I wanted to go to.
Okay, exactly.
Because
Exactly.
I refused to settle. And a year later, I still wanted to go to that place. And a year later, I took myself to that place and I had an amazing time because the person I was with had decided that my dreams were too expensive rather than, just like Akira said, think about how I can get it. Why does the first conversation always have to be, oh, let's go for the cheaper option, let's settle? Even if you can't get it right now, okay, I can't get it today, but can I get it in 6 months? How can I get it in six
Exactly.
months?
Exactly. And it still goes back to how you feel. How do you feel when you settle for that thing? Do you feel good? Do you feel I mean, and if it is something that lights you up just as much as the other thing, then so be it. But think about how you feel when you make that decision. That will indicate whether it's a $5 decision or a $5,000 decision. And just to be clear, we're not saying, oh, just spend lavishly, just do all these things. We're saying to think about the things that really bring you joy and the things that you really love. And are you automatically saying that you can't achieve those things because of money? Because if it's just because of money, let's think about how we can overcome those barriers so that you can do it, so that you can live the life that you love.
I love that because, yeah, we're not telling you to go out here and just spend money wildly.
Exactly. And the thing that people don't realize is that there's still like fundamentals of money, right? So they're still building healthy habits. They're still being able to find a debt payoff plan that works for you, not something that you just aggressively putting all your money towards and then being miserable about. No, you can still do those things now. And guess what happens when you choose to do that now? When you earn more money, you already know what to do with it. You don't have to then learn how to deal with the extra money that you're making and then be even more subject to spending it kind of frivolously because you didn't learn at the previous income level how to deal with it. You can clearly see, okay, I'm making 20K more. What does that mean? Can I pay off 10K more in debt this year? And then I can be able to go on another vacation as well. Like you will start thinking about it in a way that you know exactly how that extra money is going to work for you because you already figured out how to manage it before.
Oh, that is so key. So there's no point in making a $5,000 decision to go and earn more just to lose all that money because you didn't plan. Because the lack of
Exactly.
planning is a $5 decision.
And the lack of prioritizing the money management now. Because a lot of people say, well, I'm going to wait until, I don't know how it works in the UK, but like we get tax returns in the US and it happens like at the beginning of the year where you pay taxes. And then if you pay too much in taxes, they give you a refund. So a lot of people are like, oh, I'm waiting for tax season so that I can do this thing, so that I can see how to it's like, well, why can't you do that now? And then when that money comes, you already know what to do with it. Or people are like, oh, I'm waiting to get a bonus for my job before I waited to the beginning of the year to look into my finances. Like, but why? Because when you do it now, when that time comes, you're already 3 steps ahead.
Absolutely. We don't get tax season here. Unfortunately, we don't
Oh,
get refunds.
okay.
The way when you work in the UK, we literally pay, the government takes our tax every month. It's really rare that they take too much. And if
Okay.
they did, you have to then apply for it. And it's a whole thing, but it's really, really rare. We don't
Oh,
have
wow.
a tax season. And also we don't submit taxes. They just come out of our check. That's it. We don't, unless you're self-employed or unless you have a business, you don't have to submit your own taxes. That you get a pay slip every month and it's done. Like, and at the end of the year, your company gives you like what we call a P60 that says, this is all the tax you've paid for the year. You're all good. That's it. Good to go. You don't do anything else. Because I
Oh,
know you
wow.
guys have to fill out forms and submit taxes. We don't
Yeah.
do all that. So, but all the other things you said are very relevant, like waiting till the start of the year, waiting for the bonus, waiting for the pay rise. Actually, when you get the pay rise, you then don't know how to spend the money because you haven't worked on that side of it in the first place. You don't
Exactly.
really know why you want more.
Exactly. Or you don't know how much more to ask for. How are you going to know how much more money you need if you have not looked into the money that you're earning now, what your expenses are, how you're going to manage that? You don't know. That's why you do it now. And then you'll be prepared for when the opportunity comes up, knowing if you should even entertain that opportunity or not. Is it even going to serve you?
Right? Because 5K pay rise sounds good until you realize the 5K is not enough towards your goal. So actually, did you need a 10 or 20K pay rise? But you just said, I want more money. Give your money a purpose, and then you will know what you need, why you need it, and work on what you have already. The plan is so important. I feel like the lack of planning is a $5 decision.
It is.
Mm,
And even to take that one step further, another $5 decision would be I have 30K in debt. So I'm not going to be able to pay that off in the next 6 months. So I'm just even not going to look at it. Where a $5,000 decision would be I have 30K in debt. I can set a milestone for $2,000 in 2 months. Okay, now I
mm,
have 28K in debt. Okay, now I'm going to set a $5,000 milestone. And now you just keep chucking it down.
mhm.
But again, it's automatically assuming that you can't do something when you haven't even looked at how.
Oh, absolutely. The first thought isn't settling, guys. I swear, the more Akira is talking, that's all I keep hearing. The first thought is not settling. We will not settle. That is not going to be our first thought. So, Akira, I want to ask you, what is your most recent, I think you might have touched on it, but what is your most recent $5,000 decision and how did it affect your mindset?
Okay, so recently I have been going in the community more, right? So I'm a money coach and I have a lot of virtual clients. But again, it was like, I'm missing something. Like, again, it's that feeling. So I'm glad that this is actually coming. I'm like, no, I'm missing something. Like, something is just not right. I want to have this energy in rooms. I want to be able to talk to people in person. I want to be able to have that feedback. And I'm like, I just need to just start going to networking events, like in the community. So I went to my very first networking event within this affinity group, this women's affinity group. Didn't know anyone there. It was probably 30 to 40 people. And we were talking about goal setting. Well, goal setting lights me up. I can talk about goal setting all day long. And they asked us to kind of share what we talked about at our table. So, of course, I get up, I share. And everyone is like, oh my God, I need you. Like, how do you do? And of course, I'm just like, this is just what I naturally do. After making that $5,000 decision to go into the community to connect more with women, because I know I felt like I needed that sort of support, I gained 2 clients from going to that networking event. And at the one next month, I'm going to speak there talking about money.
Wow. one $5,000 decision.
Exactly. And I went to that first one in probably June.
Wow. And already you've got a speaking engagement and you got 2 clients. My introvert girlies. I have a lot of introverts that listen to my show. I'm also an introvert, doesn't always show up, but I am. Did you hear how just making that decision differently has changed so much for Aqura? And I know as an introvert, you guys heard that and were like, no, networking, absolutely not. But I want to say something to you guys because I networked recently. Firstly, if I hadn't have networked, I wouldn't have met Kira. So as an introvert, me saying yes when she was like, who else is in London is so far out of my comfort zone. But I like meeting people one-on-one or in small groups. But as much as I'm an introvert, I like meeting interesting people that have interesting things to say. So you guys already know when she said she was coming to London, I already went and looked her up. I researched her. I was like, oh, she seems interesting. I want to meet her. And sometimes that in itself for me was a $5,000 decision because from that, I've met an amazing woman who I think is so cool. I have done a workshop with her. I got to meet her in person. We spoke for so long, like we'd known each other for years. And sometimes we are looking for our $5,000 decisions to create money, but sometimes they create more than that. They create relationship. My decision to meet Akira made a whole podcast episode, which has then helped so many of you guys. And now we're doing a podcast episode together, which is also then going to help so many of you guys. Sometimes the decision outside of your comfort zone, but you know that as much as it feels out of your comfort zone, it still kind of feels good. It still feels like, yeah, I want to do it, even though you don't really want to do it. And I know that sounds so contradictory. But as an introvert, we lead with, I don't want to do it when it comes to socializing and being out there. But on the other hand, we sort of are like, oh no, but I also do want to meet her. That's how I felt when I was meeting you. It was like, oh, I don't want to meet a new person. I also kind of really do. And I feel like you said something was missing for you. So you were like, I want to see people in person. So let me go out in the community. So guys, if something's missing, you have to do something different. And I think that's really important. You might not know exactly what's missing, but you have to do something different. If you had the answers, I always say this, if you had the answers to everything you wanted, you'd already be there. The fact that you're not there means you don't have the answers. So the answers are something different to what you're thinking. So do things differently. I can't believe the fact that you made that one decision and based off that one decision, you got so much back from it. And you made that decision in June. How quickly things can change when we make better decisions. And your decision didn't really cost you anything other than your time and being somewhere in person, but you made one decision and it changed so many things. Like 3 things happened off of one decision.
Exactly. And it's not even done yet, right? It's not even done. Like I'm going to have that event in September and then what? And then what comes after
and then
that?
what else? Yeah. I think that's so important, guys. Like just think about what one decision could you make differently right now? If you walk away with nothing else from this podcast, what one decision could you make differently today, right now, in this moment? Like when you finish listening to this episode, what one decision could you make differently? Not 10, not 20, just one. I think that's so important. Oh, I love that.
guarantee you it's only going to take that one for you to keep doing it. It will only take one. I promise you.
Believe her, guys. Believe her. That one decision will, because once you make one decision differently, it's like a snowball, isn't it? The next one you make a bit different and the next one. And then, yeah, just one decision, guys. One decision. I love that. I love that. When you made that decision to sort of go out in the community, was there anything or anyone that kind of made you feel like, no, this is the wrong decision? Or were you like, no, I know this is the decision for me right now?
I knew it.
I like that. Gut. Was it gut? Was it instinct?
It was instinct. It was definitely instinct. But I'll tell you about one that I made probably a couple years ago. And people were like, I don't know if that's the right thing. So my husband and I were looking to purchase a home. And it was, again, it was like, we really want a home. And again, I'm not saying that you should buy a home over rent, whatever. I'm just saying that that's what we knew was what we wanted to do at that time. So this is in 2021, and we're still in the midst of COVID, right? So actually, it was at the end of 2020. And at the time, we wanted to live in a city that was an hour away from my job, right? And so I am not lying about this. This is verbatim. One of my coworkers, and I was pretty close with this person, so it will come from people that you might be close with. She was like, well, if the commute doesn't work, how are you going to sell your house? I said, girl, You mean how am I going to find another job? Because I'm not giving that. Listen, I know this is where I want to live, and this job is not going to stop me from doing that.
Mm,
So we could have bought a house in a city that we really didn't want to live in and be stuck with the house. Mind you, yes, we could have sold it, yada, yada, whatever. We did not like that city, so we did not have to live there. We knew it. We felt it all. It was like, no, this is not it for us. And I was like, I will commute. And if it's too much, I will go get another job. It's not a big deal. So people were like, people at work were like, oh my God, how much money are you spending gas? I'm like, people, it, are you in my bank account? Are you in my wallet? What is your, like, so it was coming from all
mm.
areas. And I still decided to live where we wanted to live. Year and a half later, working from my home, doing what it is I love to do. But what if I would have
Mm.
decided on the $5 decision, done the easy thing, lived somewhere where we didn't want to just because it was convenient for a job that I could have easily just gotten another job?
Someone needed to hear that. I know someone needed to hear that. Someone listening to this episode right now needed to hear that. That was such an important statement. You can get another job, but if you find the house that you want to live in the area that you want to live in, why would you give that up for the easy option?
Settle.
That's oh.
And then it has compounded over time. So we just so happened to be in the market when the rates went I don't know if this also happened in London, but we probably have the best interest rate that anyone's seen in decades.
Mm,
That wasn't the intent, but it happened because we were like, this is the house that we're going to live in. Whereas if we would have settled for a home, got that really low interest rate somewhere that we didn't want to stay, and then had to move again and they got a super high interest, it would have made a difference. And now we have a ton of equity in our, like, it compounds forward too.
mm,
That's how you know. Okay, that's it. That's how you know when it's a $5,000. It keeps compounding. Just like I talked about with the event that I went to, clients, speaking engagement. It might turn into something else later. It compounds,
that
which is
one
exactly how
decision.
money works.
Yeah, absolutely. But that
It
one
compounds.
decision that is different from what everyone else was telling you to do has now paid off. Guys, that's such an important, you're so right. That's how you know the difference between a $5 decision and a $5,000 decision. $5 decision, you're gonna be miserable 2 years from now.
And you're in a
You're gonna
cycle.
continue to, right, you're gonna continue to be miserable, continue to be annoyed, continue to not make enough money, continue to be underpaid, continue to have a boss who talks to you like crap, or like me, who had a boss who was clicking his fingers at me every chance he could get. Versus you make one $5,000 decision that feels hard because the people around you might not be supportive. It feels hard because it's different from what you usually do, but it then continues to pay off through your life. When I finally got the job that was paying a little bit more, but I took the drop in title, like, so for people, it was like, oh, you took the low title, like, you're not a manager anymore. Ooh. 3 months later, I was a manager again. A year
Right.
later, I doubled my salary. I got dividends. I got shares. I ended up being at that company 11 years. No company was able to keep me that long. Every other company, 1 year, 2 years, 6 months, I was always out the door. That one decision changed my entire life. That one decision is why I started my business, why I had my other business, all because of that one decision. And sometimes, guys, that's what you need to do. You don't know where that decision is going to lead you, but if it feels right and it feels good, you're going to have to get headstrong and just do what feels right. You're so right, Akira. So, so, so right.
$5,000 decisions compound. $5 decisions keep you in a cycle.
Oh, right there. Guys, I hope this episode, like, you guys are really listening. And if you're not, I'm going to need you to rewind and listen to the whole episode again. Furthermore, I'm going to need you to save this episode and listen to it as many times as you need to till you start to make $5,000 decisions. Before we go, or before we wrap this up, I want to ask Akira, what are your 3 tips to get us all, that includes me, all started on making $5,000 decisions more often?
Listen to your gut. You know what's right. You know what doesn't feel right. And you know when it's time for you to make a different decision that is aligned with what you feel is right. Surround yourself with people that will support those $5,000 decisions. And at the same time, protect yourself from people that are going to try to bring you back to the $5 decisions. And the third thing is think about it 2 decisions away? What would it look like 2 decisions away? What is it going to look like 3 decisions away? Because that is how money works. It compounds. That's how abundance works. It compounds. You are continuously growing. You are not just in the same loop, in the same cycle. So those are the 3 things that you need to do.
I love that. Such great tips. Guys, this episode has been so good. I knew it would be because we always seem to bounce off each other. We always seem to get like I said, I get triggered. It's not even triggered. I get activated. And like Akira says something and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what it means. And then I say something and then she says something else and it always feels so good. So I hope this episode has been super helpful. I hope that you guys leave and start making $5,000 decisions. I want us to start using that language as well, because this concept that Akira came up with is amazing. And I feel like every woman everywhere needs to know this concept. What decisions are you currently making? I want you to look at an area of your life that you're maybe not particularly happy with or that you want more from. Because it's not always that you're not happy, but you want more from. Are you making $5 decisions or $5,000 decisions? And like Akira said, $5 decisions will have you stuck on a loop, and $5,000 decisions will have your just more things coming, compounding. You will just get more and more results. That one decision will create 10 positive results for you. What's happening for you right now in your life? Thank you so much, Kira, for joining me. This was so good. I cannot wait for people to hear it. Can you tell everyone where they can connect with you, how they can connect with you, how can they work with you? Like, where do they need to come and find you?
Yes. So you can find me on Instagram. My handle is at Aqura Nicholson, Aqura. And I think Adele, I'm sure she'll have it in her show notes. I'm also on LinkedIn as well. And I have a website, which is my name, AquiraNicholson.com. And you can book a sales call with me. We will talk exactly about where your goals are and the $5,000 decisions that I will help you make to get to your goal, instead of thinking that it's not possible for you. So you can find me on Instagram, LinkedIn, and my website, and I will be happy to chat with you all.
Oh, make sure you go and follow her first and foremost. So happy that you came on that podcast episode. All Akira's information will be in the show notes. So just have a read, guys. You'll be able to click all her links. They'll all be there. Make sure you go and follow her on Instagram. Her page is so good. So much learning, so much growth. Yeah, make sure you're following her. If you need help with money coaching, you need help with money and making better decisions, you need to work with this woman. She's so good at what she does. Thank you guys, as always. It has been great. I hope you have learned as much as I have learned, because anytime I talk to Akira, I've learned something different. I have felt something different, or I have thought of a new concept in my brain that's like, okay, this is the next level. So thank you so much for joining me. It has been amazing. And yeah, guys, I will see you on the next episode. I hope this episode gave you exactly what you needed and motivated you to confidently take steps towards your next career move. If you enjoyed it, screenshot and share it on your socials, tag me on Instagram, and come join my community of amazing women working on leveling up their confidence and career. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.